hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're in the 750 Super Duty now. We was in the 750 STOL.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to go out and do a little STOL flying and tell you what you feel about the UnPanel and how it performs compared to the 750 STOL.
Yeah, I mean, without that panel there, it feels way bigger, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it's the same fuselage as the 750. That's what's funny, you know.
Yeah.
It looks like a totally different design airplane.
This is cool. This UnPanel, everything, comms.
Yep. My
ASP out and all.
There's my radios right there. I can flip flop.
725 Zulu weather wind 300 at Niner gust 14 wind variable between 270 and 330.
Yeah, and they're gonna come at an open house and they're gonna put the normal sectional map on there, so it's gonna look a little better.
It'll have everything. So will it do everything like the GPS does for like a Garmin 430 and all that?
Oh yes.
Oh, that's cool. This is pretty cool. This is for like the younger kids, right?
Right. It is.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Very
like
iPad-y.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
They like all the glass good stuff.
Do you have a lot of older flyers that have kind of been like, nah, I think I'm gonna keep the panel?
No, actually, a lot of the older pilots are going with the glass because one reason is you get a ton of instruments. You know, like you can have all your CHTs, EGTs, all the instruments. Very reasonable price compared to the analog gauges where your panel can be completely full, and it would actually cost probably quite a bit more.
They almost don't. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, we're going to do a run up. This is called an Aerosport 205 horse engine. We have this one, but we're selling the Continental Titan, which is 195 horse, which probably is going to perform about the same. Controls clear and free. I do have the Y stick. We do have an option for the center stick. We're going to go ahead and put down just a little bit of flaps on the flaperon for a little bit shorter takeoff, and it actually makes the aircraft just a little bit more stable and roll on a short takeoff. What I like to do is I like to have the stick. We're going to switch it over to our fullest tank too. What I like to do is I like to have the stick completely back, and I'll add the brakes, and I'll start increasing power. Release. The nose comes up instantly, and then we'll just fly right on after that.
Good stall takeoff.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll go, once I have the stick all the way back, nose comes up, we'll go forward with the stick because we don't want to take off with the complete stick all the way back.
Do we have full fuel right now?
About 60% fuel.
And I'm a big guy. So,
yeah, so we're not at gross, but we're getting there. Plus, I've got 70 pounds in the back.
Yeah.
Flying two people without any baggage, I like to put a little weight in the back for STOL performance.
Yeah. So this is very real world scenario.
It is.
Now. Yeah.
It is very real world.
I like it.
Okay, we got everything locked, secure, gas on. Okay. Mexico Traffic, Experimental 750 Super Duty is going to be departing runway 24 Mexico. Hey, there we go. Nose comes up. So we're on a riverbed, got our nose out of rocks there. Now we're just waiting for to get proper airspeed to lift off. There we go.
Barely even 2 airport lines.
And when you're by yourself, you know, really lightly loaded, you can barely get the power all the way in before you're ready to lift off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 255, and that was my worry. One of my worries whenever I was looking at kit planes was, okay, I am a bigger guy. What are my options out there?
Right.
I said in the kit box, they're pretty big, but it just didn't feel like this. I've got a lot of space with my shoulders, and for a bigger guy like me, that means a lot.
Exactly. We got the bubble doors. These are 3-inch bubble doors. We do have an option. You could go, less 1.5 inches if you don't need that much. And you'll probably increase a few miles an hour if you go a little smaller bubble.
Yeah, no, I feel 100% comfortable, which, that's kind of more why I was leaning into the right-hand controls.
Right.
That's a big part for me. I don't have any feeling in my left hand, kind of like what we were talking about. So I was trying to find a kit that I could do that with, and everything's stick and rudder. And when you don't have ability to use your left hand for landing, and you start looking at other options, and then I found Zenith with the middle control for my right hand, and I don't have a problem doing throttle with my left hand. It's just the sensitivity of being able to land and take off is very unsafe for a guy like me. So,
right, and we take that for granted. I didn't realize that I need the sensitivity in my hand to land the aircraft. So, and we've done several projects with other customers, hand controls for the rudder, throttle, so they can get over those obstacles, flying an airplane.
Yeah, and that's I talked to a few different companies, didn't get the kind of level of customer service I've got from when I walked in the door. Actually, from when I made the phone call to when I walked in the door 8.5 hours later on a whim. This has been probably the most pleasurable experience I've had looking for a kit, and that's probably the other side of this whole thing, that your guys' customer service blows. I call some of the other places, it's about a week before I get a call back.
Really?
Yeah, I'll talk to someone, they'll say, hey, we'll email you. I'll get an email, but it'll be 48 hours after, and that's understandable. But your guys' customer service, from picking up the phone immediately to like, you know what, you should come up here. And when she said come up here, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And as soon as I walked through the door, there's a little, I took a picture of it, it says, Zenith Aircraft Builder, or Zenith Aircraft Inc. welcomes, and it had all three of us from today. Those little touches, that are like, man, these guys actually care about the people that are flying their aircraft. And I think that was kind of the start of this smile I have right now.
Well, now you're telling all our secrets out there.
Yeah, I know that everyone's going to know. Right?
Well, and nothing's fake about it. We enjoy it. We enjoy our customers because you guys, you're coming here because this is your dream.
Exactly.
And it makes us feel good and happy to do this. It's not like, taking your car to an auto dealership, getting it fixed. Nobody wants to get that. It's not a happy feeling. So we enjoy it. I'm not working today. I'm out having fun flying.
Yeah. This is a beautiful view for an office.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I appreciate the great comments you made.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, we're just trying to have fun and be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I appreciate the opportunity to come up and check these out single-handedly so I could figure out, which one would work. The 701 is a great plane. For a bigger guy like me, I think a 750 is going to be way better. It's me and a puppy dog. And kind of what we were saying, even with the Super Duty with the third seat, I could kick her back there and she'd be super comfortable. And I could even bring a lady friend or a couple different friends along for a ride. That's what that's weight in gold, when you can you take your experience in your dream and you pass it to the next person.
Right. And
that was kind of what I was saying that happened with me was, people were talking about it. Next thing I know, 5 years later, I'm here at Zenith.
Excellent.
I'm a younger guy. So this kind of goes back to the other conversation that we were having in the 750. I'm a younger guy, so a lot of companies, kind of the company you call them, and they'll hear that you're young, and then they're like, well, there's not a lot of young flyers for experimental, but there are. It's just they don't know where to go. Right. And so coming to Zenith, and like I said, from phone call to demo ride, being taken care of like I'm a family member is amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
Amazing.
Yep, thank you very much. Well, you want to try it and see how it feels compared to the 750 STOL?
Yeah, I'm going to try with the left, actually.
Try with the left and then try with your right. The rudders are going to be a little bit stiffer because we have the bungee suspension still on this airplane.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. This is so smooth. Even though I don't have feeling in the left hand, I can kind of move it along, and
right.
I'm not worried about if there's a gust.
Right.
The response is good. I'm a low time pilot, about 47 hours. It's an experience.
It is, yeah. It's flying is something you just can't explain because there's so many different things that makes you happy. It's the freedom, the feel,
Yeah, see, this would be kind of like what I would have to do if I flew left hand. I would have to have someone with me working the throttle for me.
Right.
You know, me trying to fly left hand to learn, and then eventually go into the pilot's position.
Right.
But you know, with the right hand,
try
even
the right.
yeah, even you know,
I don't even know. Yeah, you're a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I can hit those little adjustments, and it's just a lot easier.
Yeah, you're never behind the curve there.
Yeah.
Whereas the other hand, you're always way behind.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up.
Right.
I'm trying not to do huge movements.
Now lower the nose just a little bit. There you go. Okay, go ahead and turn back that way, to the right. Yeah, it's an awesome airplane, and it's, you know, especially you can throw about whatever you want in it and it'll haul out.
Oh yeah, that's, you know, we were talking, you know, I've looked into those Viking engines. Those seem to be just, you know, horsepower hungry super stallions. From everything I've read, people that have them, they love them. So that's, you know, something else I've always kind of been looking at over the last year since they came out. My situation is I found a kit that was almost done, and if you're looking at Zenith, you're probably in a similar situation than I am. You found a kit, or you're looking at buying a kit, and you're seeing the price differences, and you're like, man, even if I went and bought a kit that was almost done, it could have changed hands. The kit that I'm looking at has changed hands roughly 7 times.
Oh, gee.
And the nice thing is, each person called Zenith, and you guys have a really good log. I gave the serial number, and this is something else that I didn't know you guys did until I called. I gave the serial number, and she was able to just list off everyone that has called in and touched that kit. Now, how many people haven't called in and touched that kit? Right. I don't know. So in my mind, I could save a little money, but in the long run, I'm not being as safe, and I'm probably not being as confident as I could be by buying a kit and building it. It might be a little more expensive, but I know nothing's missing.
Correct.
If there's something missing, I can call. Like, hey, I did an inventory on this right after I get it out of the box. This is what's missing. I'm sure your guys' customer service will be like, hey man, we're gonna get it out as quick as we can to you. That right there is worth its weight in gold when it comes to talking about being safe, building one of these, and then also knowing the craftsmanship behind it. You know, luckily you knew one of the individuals in that line. You said he's a great craftsman, but how many people have touched that since him?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And so I'd rather know from the start, as a new experimental builder, first-time flyer builder, that I have everything ready to go. I can quality control it to the point where I'm not being unsafe. And I'm not necessarily saying buying a kit that's, you know, halfway built's unsafe, but it really makes you think. For that little extra bit of money, I can just go buy a new kit.
Right, exactly.
I might not have the avionics, I might not have the engine, but in the end, that kit's not the engine I want. It's not the avionics that I want. So,
and you don't want to get into buying a kit or somebody's project just because it speeds up the process a little.
Exactly, and you know, a lot of individuals. I have that now-itis. I want it now.
Right.
You know, I'm a low-time pilot. I want to get in the air. I hate renting. You know, that's kind of what brought me into the kit world. Was when you see a bill, kind of what you're saying. When you see a bill at the end of the month for the couple hours you flew, and you're like, man, I could almost pay for a kit, you know, by the end of a year of flying like that. Why not? Right. You know, and you know, I know I'm a younger pilot, I'm a lower time pilot, but this just seems to be the way to go. With this not being like, you know, this being LSA and everything like that, I have the ability to do work on it myself. I can drain the oil, I can do that kind of stuff. I can't do a conditional inspection because I don't have the repairman certificate, but there's classes for that, you know, and they're like 15 days. Then you can. So now you're saving yourself even more money over the course of being a pilot. And that's the reason I started looking into kits super heavily. And, you know, and then everything with the hand, looking and seeing the Zenith with the right hand control. And I know you guys have the option for stick and rudder in the middle, you know, for pilots that are more apt to do that. But for a guy like me, the right hand kind of set the curve, plus the quality, the craftsmanship, with kind of what we were talking about. When you buy a 750, the holes are final drill.
Exactly.
So it's really like putting together a big Legos kit for an adult. And you know, you have the manuals, you just take your time and do it. I'm helping an individual build a vans right now, and we have to drill every hole. We have to drill a small pilot hole, then we drill out other holes. Then we have to Cleco it. You know, it adds a lot of hours.
Oh, it does.
I mean, I couldn't believe it when, you know, I was talking to a few people that build these. You know, they've got 800 hours, and that's them taking more than, you know, they probably should have, but they double check everything, triple check, you know.
Right.
And that 800 hours versus 2,000 hours is a lot.
Oh yeah, exactly.
When you're talking about kits that don't get done, and you know, that's what I'm running into looking at kits online. Is, okay, you know, I look at this particular one, it says 1,800 hours. I'm like, okay, what am I doing in that 1,800 hours? I look through the manuals and I'm like, man, I'm doing a lot of drilling that I wouldn't have to do with another kit, you know, especially the Zenith. And so it's cool that you guys have started doing that. That was kind of the other thing. I watched a video on YouTube, I think it was Oshkosh 2016, that you guys built a fuselage.
Oh yes.
There were like 10 people, and there were like a couple teenagers, a couple older guys, and you know, it was built in about 15 minutes. Yes, I couldn't believe it. The tail section, and you know, and then I watched the video. I think it was you and Mr. Steve. You guys were building the wings in the factory, and you know, you guys were just going through. I sat there for about 30 minutes, and you know, then I guess it was yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call, talk to him, find out about, you know, what I can, and then on a whim, after talking to her, I don't remember. She's the older lady in there.
Joyce.
Miss Joyce. Yeah.
Miss Joyce.
She's so sweet when you call.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she was the reason I kind of came up. She was like, you should come up and take a demo. She was super adamant about that. And she was like, you'll figure it out. If you set the 701 and you fit, you know, you might not. You know, she's, I don't know. And I told her I was a bigger guy. She was like, you might like that 750 a little better. And then I walked through the door, and she's like right there at the door almost. You know, she's helping other people. Greets me and said, hey, you know what? Let's go out in the factory. And that's the first thing that happened. We went out. I set the 701 and then set the 750. And then I met Mr. Steve, and you know, then went and saw the factory tour, which was, you know, it's crazy. You guys have the CNC, the presses, the whole 9 yards. It's a really good setup, really sweet setup, really efficient.
Right.
And you know, by that time, I think you had just got done doing the other demo flight. You know, I think I'm your third today, right?
Third or fourth, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, I didn't even know that you guys did demos until I called. So this has been a very pleasurable experience, like I said, and probably the best company I've talked to in the kit world so far.
Well, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. You guys have.
And you know, you should probably say a few nice, kind words about the FA. How do they treat you?
Oh yeah, so
that's an awesome experience.
Yeah, so when I got hurt, you know, you go through getting your medical, so you can get up in the air and get a regular pilot's license, or you can just do a sport license. And sport license, you know, it doesn't take a class 3 to get. You just get a sport license. With me, I had a friend that I was talking to, and I was telling him how interested I was into aviation and how it was a dream of mine. And lo and behold, I get a call saying, hey, we would like to look over your medical records and see if it's worth your time. Because I was telling them, you know, I'd really like to go and do the full 40 hours flight training, because I want to see what my limitations are. The limitations aren't within the plane when you're talking about an individual that has accessibility and disabilities issues. It's always going to be within yourself first, and then how do you adapt that plane to do it?
Exactly.
You know, and so I started talking to them, and like, look, we don't see anything that causes concern. We actually have an individual. You knew her name. That
Jessica Cox.
Yeah, I think she's. I know that she has no arms, and she flies, and she's adapted. She flies with her legs, and they gave her basic med, and so I applied, and you know, I got a letter and a phone call back in about 2 weeks, which was insane. That they have that kind of level of commitment to the people that are out here flying. You know, because you always hear these horror stories, and you're like, I didn't experience that. You know, I think it's all about you know, who you talk to, not really who you talk to, but the process, who you approach. And if you try to go start at the top, you're going to get met with a brick wall. Like, why didn't you start? You know, there's a process. And we looked at the process, and that process is what we followed. And to get a call back and say, hey, we're cool with it. Go and see if you can get a Class 3. So I go down to San Angelo, Texas. I have a real good friend that actually was like, hey, you can stay with me while you do your pilot's license for free. And, you know, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be out here doing what I'm doing right now. We go to Midland, Texas. I go and get a Class 3. And, you know, to go from being in a situation where you don't know where your life is going to go, and you have this dream, and then to see that dream 5 years later, I'm up here in the air, you know, at a Zenith factory in a 750 Super Duty, just putting around, man. This has been amazing. And this goes back to your kind of level of customer service is, you know, you found out my story, you found out my history, my lineage of what brought you into the aviation world. And that right there lets you know that a company wants you flying their aircraft, that it's more of a homegrown grassroots company. And that's where, that's kind of where the pavement hits the road, I guess you'd say, proverbially, is, am I going to go with a company that when I call I can barely get a hold of? Or if I call and they're like, oh, hey, Justin, what's going on? How's the puppy dog? Well, you know what I mean? That level of customer service is something that's going the way of the dodo bird. And, you know, the more we're sitting here talking about it, I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do that 750. And, you know, you would think coming up and talking to you guys, like, you would want to push the highest kit. Oh, but no. You know my needs, and after talking to you, you're like, you know what? The Super Duty's maybe not the route you need to go. Right. Like, be a little more economical, just go with the 750, same fuselage. You know, you can put a Viking motor or whatever you want in it, and you'll be pretty good. And that right there is also something to be said, that, you know, you're maximizing what the individual needs, not basically what the company needs. And that speaks volumes to me. I'm sure it does to other people too. Definitely. You know,
well, you know, it's a big project. It's a big mission, and you know, you're just not, you know, it's not like selling a car to you. You're out the door, boom, boom. You know, this is going to be a year or 2 or 3 years, and then you're going to be flying and asking questions. So, you know, we want you to be happy with whatever you're going to get, but we want you to understand all the different models, what's going to entail. You know, and just like buying somebody else's project. You know, what are you going to encounter? You know, missing parts or damaged or, you know, stuff like that.
You get those proverbial gremlins from the kit.
All right, so let's set up for a landing here. We're coming in on runway 24. We've got a little bit of light wind out of the north-northwest, and we're in the 750 Super Duty, and we're in the wide arc. So what I'm going to do is deploy just a little bit of flaps. Probably we got a full flaps at 15 degrees. I got about 2 to 3 degrees now, and trim it a little bit. I like to trim it where it's just a little bit stick heavy. And we're going to set up. And Mexico traffic, Spirit Mode 750 is going to be turning final for 24 Mexico. And a little bit more flaps. Ideally with the UnPanel, I would like, if I had a wish list, and we might change it, is put the trim and the flaps on my stick. So I don't have to move my hands at all during the slow flight or the critical stage of the flight.
The amount of visibility on the front right now, UnPanel is, oh my, it's, after setting in the 701 and setting in the 750 to not have anything here, like I said, it feels so much bigger, but it's the exact same fuselage.
Okay, so we got the wind about 40 degrees off the left, or right, and we're going to set up for a little crosswind. Crosswinds are not a problem as long as you just fly the airplane. All you have to do is stick one wheel on the ground and your crosswind is basically done. Whereas a lot of aircraft, you have to fly that wing low down half the runway to maintain directional control. And once we get a little closer, I'm going to start bringing the nose up. Add just a touch of power, control that sink rate, and just keep bringing it back. Keep the nose off.
Wow. What's the performance takeoff, rolling and takeoff for one of these?
You're looking at lightly loaded, definitely less than 125 feet or less.
Yeah.
Fully loaded, you're probably 175 or less.
Yeah.
And that just all depends on your engine, your prop,
Yeah.
your field conditions, everything.
Yeah. If I had a good breakfast in the morning or not.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I hope you enjoyed your visit here at the factory, your demo flight in the 750 STOL and the Super Duty. What I would strongly recommend, and I think you mentioned it earlier, you're going to come back for our open house on September 20th and 21st. We'll have tons of vendors and seminars going on, tons of customers flying their 750 Super Duties. Probably we'll have one of them, the Viking from Jan Eggenfelder in Florida, will be flying his up, and you'll gain a lot of knowledge during those 2 days. What I strongly recommend, though, is coming up for a rudder workshop if you have time. Come to the rudder workshop, build the rudder, because there's no different building the rudder versus building the wing, the fuselage. It's just a bigger section, or it looks different. That's the only thing. You still got a spar, you still got ribs, you still got skin and rivets. Once you've done that, you can accomplish building the airplane very easily.
You guys do those once a month or once every other month?
Once a month, and it's always on a Thursday and a Friday, and they're different each month depending on the month of the holidays and stuff. Our next one is September, right before the open house.
Okay. I might just wind up staying the whole week up here.
There you go.
And I appreciate you guys. You guys exceeded my expectations for everything. This has been, like I said, the most pleasurable experience I've had so far in the aviation community when it comes to kit flying.
Well, thank you, and we're just trying to have fun ourselves, and I'm glad you made those nice comments, and we didn't try to do anything special, and
I'll take the $100 bill on the way out.
yeah.
No, not at all. No, it was a pleasure. I'm glad I came up here.
Great. Well, we'll see you at the open house then.
Yes, sir. The camper thing that you guys are doing, that's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, I opened it up and I was like, because I actually thought about building one a long time ago. So, like this retirement thing has taken me down a wealth of rabbit holes in the middle of the night.